part two. The refugees from the city of Pillars that was where the Colosseum is now. They evacuated out, and one of the places that they regrouped was in the Venice Lagoon, where they rebuilt another city of pillars, that's by no means the first city of pillars, or by really no means the last city of pillars. London is also a city of pillars. So is Boston. So is the original aspects of New York City. Manhattan there was an infrastructure of pillars, of cities of pillars, around the island. The natives had the inside, and the British, specifically the British and the French, had the shoreline and the docks that they had built, which the lots and lots of infrastructure was built on those docks. And that infrastructure were buildings and the like, and those buildings functioned as the first city there in the possibly late 1400s. Do you think the English and the Italians were going to be honest about any of it? They were actively killing people who disagreed with them and knew how to read and write. So you're going to think they're going to be honest about anything that makes them look bad? Yeah, right. The only reason why Christopher Columbus was not executed on the spot when he petitioned the Pope to do that journey is because the Muslims were doing a major military threat to the area, and the Muslims were like, okay, we have X goal, so we're either bringing our army to Italy, and we're going to turn the Vatican into a mosque, or again into a mosque. It was a mosque for a few years, and from about 625, 35, somewhere in there, to about 650, when the armies of the world descended on Rome and destroyed the majority of Rome proper, as well as removed any evidence whatsoever, as much as they could remove evidence whatsoever, that the Vatican had been anything other than a mosque. The last smallest bits of evidence of the Vatican, the St. Peter's Basilica, the Vatican had been a mosque at one point, was completely obliterated by both Rodrigo Borgia, Pope Alexander the something, and his immediate successor, Pope Julius II, who was not named in the line of popes. He was claiming heritage with Julius Caesar from 1500 years previous, 1550 years previous. He was claiming to be a member of the Julii family, which makes things even more interesting because he's the one that forced the commission of the Sistine Chapel, the painting of the Sistine Chapel, and did the very, very unusual and weird aspects of the painting of that, because there was a person alive capable of doing that level of painting, who was living in the Vatican at the time under house arrest, and the person who was credited for it did not have the level of skill necessary to be able to do that. So you have the one guy credited for it, couldn't do it, didn't have the skills, and the one guy who could do it, who was living there at the time under house arrest, who was being violently punished for high treason, was living there. He had more than enough skill to be able to do all those frescoes and do all that stuff, and he wasn't allowed to take credit for any of his work. Although Raphael did paint him into the School of Venice, and that fresco is located just around the corner. It's not Socrates' face on that painting, it's Da Vinci's face on that painting.